Meeting your new company, where does that leave you?
I do have exciting news of my own, and I will enlighten you very soon.
Are you digging for dirt on me?
No.
Did Kane put you up to this?
Okay, what's it about?
It's Audra. There's something that you need to know about the kind of person she really is.
The oppressive silence of the Genoa City University Hospital ICU was broken only by the rhythmic, mechanical sighs of the ventilator and the steady, weak beep of the heart monitor. Victor Newman, a man who had built an empire on sheer force of will, felt terrifyingly small and powerless as he stared at the frail figure in the bed. His son, Adam, was a ghost of his former self, pale, intubated, and connected to a web of wires and tubes that seemed to be the only things tethering him to life. His pulse is weak, the doctor had said, her voice a carefully calibrated instrument of professional sympathy. And it's fading. We're doing everything we can, but the internal injuries from the crash, they're extensive. Fading. The word echoed in Victor's mind, a cruel counterpoint to the vibrant, chaotic, infuriating energy that was his son. Adam was fire and impulse, sharp intellect and raw emotion. He was not this stillness. Victor's gnarled hand, which had signed billion-dollar deals and brought rivals to their knees, trembled as he reached out, hesitating for a long moment before finally resting it on Adam's cool, limp forearm. The contact was a shock. It was a confession of a lifetime of failures, a silent plea sent through touch into the void. The door hissed open, and Nick Newman entered, his face a mask of conflicted emotion. He stood beside his father, the two of them a study in contrasts, the old lion and his golden son, united for once not by business, but by a shared, dreadful vigil. Any change? Nick's voice was rough. Victor shook his head, his eyes never leaving Adam's face.
No.
The doctor says it's a matter of time. Nick let out a long, slow breath. He and Adam had been locked in a bitter war for months, a tangled web of corporate maneuvering and personal betrayal centered around the advertising firm, Dark Horse. Nick had wanted to destroy Adam, to drive him out of the city and out of their lives for good. Now, staring at the possible consequence of that vendetta, a cold dread settled in his stomach. Had the relentless pressure he'd applied pushed Adam to take a reckless drive on that rain-slicked road? Was this, in some twisted way, on him? He's a fighter, Dad, Nick said, the words sounding hollow even to him. He's always been a fighter. He fights everyone, Victor murmured, his voice thick. Especially those who try to love him. But this is an enemy he cannot outsmart or outmaneuver. Across town, in the sleek, modern penthouse that felt more like a gilded cage, Victoria Newman Reyes was trying to focus on a merger proposal. The words swam on the tablet in front of her, a weak pulse and fading fast. Her father's words, relayed in a terse phone call, had shattered her professional composure. Adam was her half-brother, her rival, her constant antagonist. He had threatened her position, her company, her family. She had despised him with a purity that was almost comforting in its simplicity. Now, that hatred felt like a cheap, flimsy thing. She remembered a fleeting moment from their childhood, before the resentments had calcified, a 9-year-old Adam showing her a magic trick with a coin, his face alight with a desperate, hopeful need for approval. She had scoffed then. Now, the memory felt like a shard of glass in her heart. Was this the victory she had wanted? His utter and complete silence? A cold emptiness spread through her, far more unsettling than anger. The news spread through the city's elite like a slow-moving poison. At the Grand Phoenix, Sharon Rosales was arranging flowers for the lobby when she heard. The vase slipped from her hands, shattering on the marble floor, water and blossoms scattering around her feet. Adam. Her first love, her greatest tragedy, her enduring what-if. Their history was a novel of passion, madness, redemption, and loss. She had seen the good in him when no one else could, had fought for his soul, and had finally found a fragile, peaceful friendship. She sank to her knees, not caring about the broken glass or the stares of the guests. She saw his smile, the one he reserved only for her, the one that was boyish and unguarded, free of the Newman cynicism. She remembered the weight of his head on her shoulder during his darkest hours. A weak pulse. It felt like a description of their entire tumultuous history, a flickering light that was now threatening to go out for good. Billy Abbott, nursing a whiskey at the athletic club, received a text from Lily. He read it, his jaw tightening. He and Adam had been through hell together, from being business partners to bitter enemies. They had literally come to blows. But they had also, in their own dysfunctional way, understood each other's demons. Adam's chaos mirrored a part of Billy he kept locked away. His potential demise wasn't a cause for celebration. It was a grim reminder of their own mortality and the destructive paths they had both walked. He ordered another drink, this one for the ghost in the room. Back at the hospital, the day bled into a suffocating evening. The family had come and gone in shifts, each visit a fresh wave of anguish. Chelsea, Adam's ex-wife and the mother of his son, had come, her face ravaged by tears. She had clung to Connor, their boy, who was too young to fully comprehend the finality of the beeping machines but old enough to feel the terror in the air. Now it was just Victor again, the night his only companion. The nurses had dimmed the lights, casting the room in a blue-hued gloom. The beep of the monitor seemed slower, the spaces between the tones stretching longer, a terrifying, silent countdown. Victor leaned forward, his chair scraping softly on the floor. The weight of 80 years of life, of every ruthless decision, every severed relationship, every moment he had chosen power over family, pressed down on him. He saw it all now with a horrifying clarity. His legacy wasn't Newman Enterprises, the skyscrapers, the global empire. It was this, a broken son dying alone in a sterile room. Adam, he whispered, his voice cracking, stripped bare of all its authority. It was just a father's voice, pleading with his child. I am here. Your father is here. He thought of all the things left unsaid. The pride he'd never expressed in Adam's brilliant, if misguided, mind. The love he'd withheld as a punishment for not being like Nick or Victoria. The forgiveness he'd never offered for crimes he himself had provoked. I have made so many mistakes, Victor continued, his words a raw confession to the unhearing ears of his son. I thought I was making you strong. I thought toughness was the only language our world understood. But I was wrong. I broke you, instead. I pushed you, and I pushed you, and I never once simply held on. Tears, rare and unwelcome, welled in Victor's eyes, blurring the image of his son. He didn't brush them away. You are my son. You are a Newman. And we do not go quietly into the night. Do you hear me? You fight. You fight for your life. You have a son who needs his father. You have so much left to do. He gripped Adam's arm tighter, as if he could physically transfer his own formidable life force through that touch. I need you to fight, Adam. Not for the company, not for the money, not against your brothers and sisters. Fight for you.
Stay. Please, son.
Stay. He bowed his head, his forehead nearly touching the bed rail, his shoulders shaking with silent, ragged sobs. The mighty Victor Newman was brought to his knees not by a corporate raider or a federal indictment, but by the slow, steady fade of a single, weak pulse on a monitor. For a long time, there was only the sound of Victor's grief and the machine's relentless, mournful song. Then, a change. So subtle, it was almost imperceptible. The weak, thready beep, it didn't get stronger. But the next one came a fraction of a second sooner. And the next. Victor's head snapped up. He stared at the green line tracing its path across the screen. The rhythm was still fragile, still precarious, but the agonizing pauses between the beats were shortening. The line, which had been a series of shallow, desperate peaks, seemed to gather a minuscule amount of strength, the next peak rising just a little bit higher. He held his breath, his own heart hammering against his ribs. He looked from the monitor to Adam's face. Was it his imagination, a trick of the dim light and desperate hope? Or had there been the faintest twitch in Adam's eyelids? The door opened, and the doctor entered for her rounds. She glanced at the monitor, then did a double-take. She moved quickly to the bedside, her trained eyes analyzing the data. "Mr. Newman," she said, her voice laced with a new, cautious note. "His vitals, they've stabilized. It's slight, but it's there. His pulse is stronger." Victor could only nod, the words stuck in his throat. The iron grip of despair loosened its hold, replaced by a fragile, terrifying thing called hope. The crisis was not over. Adam was still deep in the woods, his condition critical, but he was no longer fading. The weak pulse had found a reason to beat on, a tenuous thread of life pulled back from the very brink. In the quiet darkness of that hospital room, surrounded by the ghosts of their tumultuous past, a battle had been fought. And for the first time in a long time, the fire that was Adam Newman had not been extinguished. It was merely waiting, gathering its strength for whatever came next. The war for his life was far from won, but the first, most crucial skirmish was over. He was still here. The Young and the Restless, YNR, spoilers for the week of October 20th to 24th reveal that Claire Newman, Haley Aaron, will double down on danger while Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, deals with some temptation. Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, will also take a trip, so there'll be a lot happening on the CBS soap. For starters, Claire will dig her heels in when it comes to the good time she's having with Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, in Los Angeles. Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller. Hears alarm bells whenever Holden is around and will remain in LA for a bit, so it's possible he might come to Claire's rescue if she gets in over her head. Victoria also has concerns about Claire potentially doing something reckless, so she'll follow her daughter to Los Angeles as well. Claire is sure to be annoyed over all these people chasing after her like she's a little girl who can't take care of herself. Victoria may use visiting injured Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, as an excuse, but Claire will likely suspect her mom really wanted to keep tabs on her like Kyle. However, Holden could easily become a danger magnet if he gets pulled into some trouble related to his past with Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver. Regardless, Claire could at least make some impulsive moves in the bedroom if she lets herself get swept up in all this LA magic with Holden. Speaking of impulsive moves in the bedroom, could Kane and Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, be on the verge of making some of their own? Phyllis is set to get a surprising new love interest soon and has been growing closer to Kane lately. It won't do Kane's image any favors if he lets passion erupt with Phyllis, but they might surrender to temptation anyway. Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, may have an even bigger problem with Kane if he has a sizzling encounter with Phyllis, and she finds out about it. Jealousy could bubble up whether Lily wants to admit it or not. Whatever the case, YNR spoilers say Lily and the twins won't be forgiving Kane anytime soon, so he might decide to seek some hot comfort with Phyllis. While Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, and Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, wait for Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, to wake up, they'll try to solve the mystery of his car crash and the weird circumstances surrounding it. Detective Burrow, Matt Cohen, will also seek the truth, so look for him to have some questions for Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun, and Roger Howarth's character, who may end up being Sienna's longtime lover named Mitch, eventually. Back in Genoa City, Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, will have to decide whether he'll confront Jill Abbott, Jess Walton, about her investment intentions or keep his mouth shut like Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, is hoping. No matter how Billy handles this, more challenges should be coming up for Sally and Billy's relationship. Billy and Sally are doing their best to make things work, but how many obstacles can they conquer before they reach their breaking point? The Young and the Restless spoilers say the week of October 20th to 24th will bring more hurdles to tackle for multiple characters, so stay tuned for updates on any big news and heated confrontations. CDL will have other fantastic Young and the Restless spoilers, news and updates to read up on, so make us your go-to YNR source. The Young and the Restless, YNR, spoilers hint that Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, could have some memory loss and wake up thinking he's still with Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver. Is the show gearing up for a romantic twist that'll totally change the game? Now that Lucas Adams is taking over the role of Noah, it's the perfect opportunity for a reset. YNR seems to be embracing this brand new Noah idea by having him all bandaged up following his car crash. Noah needed surgery on his face and skull, so that'll help explain his new look, and it could set the stage for a partial amnesia story as well. It's clear that Noah has suffered severe head trauma, so some brain damage is definitely possible here. That's something Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, and Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, have been concerned about, so fans should be worried about it, too. What if Noah at least has some memory loss when he awakens? That could lead to Noah's breakup with Ali and Jaiwan, Kelsey Wong, who still seems to be a couple with him based on Sharon's comments in the October 15th episode. There's a chance Noah won't remember Ali at all, so their split could be on the horizon. Noah might lose the most recent years of his life and think he's still an item with Audra instead. YNR viewers may recall that Noah had a pretty toxic romance with Audra once upon a time, but it was also intense and difficult for them to shake. Audra even miscarried Noah's baby, though she didn't tell him about that until long after they'd broken up. The point is that Noah and Audra have history, which may be revisited following Lucas Adams' debut as a Noah Newman recast. There have been some hints about that in The Young and the Restless spoilers, so what better way to set up Noah and Audra's reunion than to have him think they're still romantically involved? That could easily happen if Noah has a memory loss storyline in the works, so stay tuned for updates on any shocking news to come. CDL will have other great Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates to check out, so make us your favorite hotspot. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease that Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, could really end up in a bind. As YNR viewers know, he and Summer Newman, Hunter King, are away on a business trip in San Francisco, and that trip has happened to come at a time when Kyle and Lola Abbott's, Sasha Kaye,